Hi, Don here. Welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. We're going to go over the things that can help bring your practice to the $1,000,000 mark and beyond. This is a recording of a Friday in my office, so just a reminder, Fridays is the day in the morning from 8 until about noon. I do routine care, so each doctor has a different day. We have 4 docs, each do a half day in the morning, and this is the most efficient. We use a nail tech, so it's been really working to make it much more efficient for us. We're still struggling a little bit with the new EMR with the notes. The notes are kind of the biggest struggle, but now we're getting kind of the hang of it. So I'm hoping once I get back past the 3-month mark, then I can start doing my diabetic foot exams and my circulatory studies and things like that. I've been kind of not doing them just because I've been having too many other things in my mind of doing the documentation, and I don't really have a great system yet. Reading a good book, I would recommend it. It's called Buy Back Your Time. You can find it on Audible. I think you might like it. It has kind of ways of kind of delegating more things or buying back your time versus, like, I think a lot of times, and this is something I've thought of, I want to like hire someone to do something, whereas really he recommends in this book to hire someone to do stuff that you either don't like to do or something that someone else might do better for you, and buying back your time is the best way to leverage your time. I think that's where like Morali, my scribe, comes in. It's buying back my time so I can do other things that are higher benefit, or like when I don't edit my own videos and things like that. So I can do the creative portion, but the other part can be done. There's a good tip in there called the 10-80-10, which I really think would apply to us as podiatrists, which means it's kind of a way that people can, like, he gives an example of like John Clancy for writing his books. He doesn't write all those books, right? He might do the initial outline of the idea. Someone else does a lot of the writing, and then he kind of does some finishing touches on it. So I've thought about some ways we could do that in the office. This is like with using other providers. So doing the initial consult and then having someone else like do the shock waves, and then you kind of follow up with the final visit. So if this is all kind of documented, this would work pretty well in the office. It does take giving up some of the, how do you say it, some of the face time with the patients, and I think for a lot of doctors, they think they're the only ones that can do things really, really well. The problem with that's not really scalable. Like, if you're the only one that can do it, you're the only one that can do it. So there's a lot of key man risk with your practice. Okay, let's go into the afternoon. So the morning was routine. I don't want to talk about that. Afternoon, first patient was EPAT number 6 out of 6 for insertional Achilles tendonitis. He's already starting to feel better. I'm going to do a 6-week follow-up for him. Next patient was a 51-year-old. He's a follow-up for Achilles tendon. So he has a lot of equinus. He was doing a little bit of the stretching and stuff like that. He was not interested in some of the treatments that I was recommending, such as shockwave or even physical therapy. So sometimes for these ones, what I do is I just push them out a lot. So I'm going to push him out for 3 months. I'm going to see him back at that time and see how he's doing and see if he's ready to go to the next step. Next patient was a 36-year-old. She had a third metatarsal fracture. She brought in her own CD. Actually, we got a new X-ray, sorry. Now, this is one, I recommended a boot for her, and she just said, oh, yeah, and so I prescribed it, and then she decided not to get it, and she was going to Amazon. I think this is happening more and more. Patients are wanting to get things online, maybe saving because of their high deductibles. So this is something, I don't have a great way around it, but I think it's good for us to recognize kind of that lost revenue that's going out if that happens. Next patient was a 68-year-old that was here for an orthotic follow-up, and she really wasn't wearing the right shoes. And she didn't read the paper that we give when we give out orthotics that talked about taking out the sock liner and the shoes and things like that. This is something that we do frequently because if they're wearing the improper shoes, like a Skechers or a Nike or something else like that, or a kind of a fashion shoe that doesn't have the sock liner that comes out, they're going to have a harder time fitting their shoes. So I was talking to her about that today. Next was a patient, 84-year-old. I did 2 flexor tenotomies in the office. She's here for the follow-up. Now, we did miss the x-rays. I'm still learning, once again, about doing the follow-up with x-rays, kind of writing that in there. We did not write that in there, but that would be something that that we shouldn't have lost on that, but her flexor tenotomies turned out well. Next was a 6-year-old that we did an IND. Now, this was tough. I don't know about you, but We have these little kids once in a while that come in that need INDs, and he was just struggling with this. I've thought about using like a topical lidocaine cream. I'd like to know if anyone has some of that. I don't do it routinely on all of my injections to the toes, but I'm thinking for kids it might be a good idea. So I'd like to know if anyone has any great topical cream that you would have there for kids, just to calm them down, because the injection just hurts them and they're really kind of stressed. Next was a patient, 47-year-old, came back. He's followed up for matrix, and he had Onyfix on the right side, and the left side I had avulsed it, and it's been about 3 months, and I let the nail grow back. And so these are onycholytic nails, so sometimes for these onycholytic ones I'll put Onyfix on there, and hopefully it'll help it to reattach. Not for everyone, but in this case it did help him, so we did bilateral Onyfixes for this patient. Next patient was a 61-year-old. For follow-up Lamisil, I gave her a booster, and we did talk about bunions, surgery, and shoe recommendations. Next was a patient, a 37-year-old, left plantar fascia. Did the Pelto Special and meloxicam. Pelto Special, once again, is foam rolling, night sprint, and a morning stretch for that patient. And then the last patient of the day was a follow-up for Lamisil, and the patient is doing better. No need for follow-up. So that was the day. I think this whole idea of buying back time, I'm trying to figure out, and I kind of struggle with some of this because I think a lot of us, or me anyway, in my practice, I have two other partners and one other associate, and the challenge for me is like all of our revenue as doctors are based on what we're producing, and to grow beyond that is hard, in my opinion, because if I stop seeing patients or putting someone in my place, then my revenue, the way the revenue structure is set up, it goes down. So I'm kind of, and I'm, in terms of this partnership, we're all kind of partners, and so if I don't produce as much, it kind of produces, everything else comes down. So the way we have our partnership is if any of us are $100,000 different at the end of the year, we get dinged, right? So it kind of encourages us all to produce about the same amount. So what happens is, in our partnership, all of us get 30% at the end of the day. Let's say I produce $1 million, another doctor produces $900,000, another person $800,000. So that $800,000 and $900,000, that $100,000, they wouldn't get that. That would go to us. It would be divided up amongst the other partners. That difference. So they wouldn't get that because they didn't produce as much. So it would kind of go to the other partners. That's the way we have it set up. So it encourages everyone to work, because you don't want a doctor like one producing $1 million, one producing $500,000, right, as their partners, because it's just not going to be the most effective use of everyone's time, and others are working a lot more, and the other one is getting more of the benefit. So that's the way we have it set up. I'd love to hear how others do it, and then I'm trying to figure out a way that I could focus more on the marketing, right, building up the practice, but there's also no incentive for me to build up the practice, since I'm already busy, to build up for the other guy, the other doctor that's here. So these are kind of issues kind of we're dealing with right now. I have been having fun with creating these YouTube shorts, and there's a good book called $1 Million Leads and $1 Million Offers, but $1 Million Leads is the one that I'm kind of working on. And what they recommend is take your best YouTube shorts and then turn them into your Facebook ads. So YouTube shorts, have the best traction. Put those into YouTube or Facebook ads. And the thought is I'm going to be pushing now, because we have this urgent care. And by the way, some people give me some feedback on my urgent care page. I appreciate that. But pushing like urgent care, so kind of fitting patients in, saying, this will get the new doctor busy. This is kind of the lowest hanging fruit, because it is a way to help grow the practice, fill up our time slots, all of us, but mostly this newer doctor in here. And it's something that is exciting to offer in terms of on social media. So show them a video and then say, if you have an urgent issue, we can fit you in most of the time, same day or next day, which is a lot better than a lot of these other urgent care places. Okay, once again, hope you guys found this beneficial. Until tomorrow, thanks.